والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ومولانا محمد وصحبه أجمعين. لا إله إلا الله نستعين سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما وارزقنا فهما يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك اللهم اجعل أعمالنا خالصة لوجهك ولا تجعل فيها حوضا لغيرك آمين يا رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Um, is is the sound clear now? Okay. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome back to our first session of 2025. Alhamdulillah, I'm so happy to be back. I hope everyone had a lovely holiday, a lovely relaxing break. But now we're back to work, back to getting the kids ready for school and dressa. It must be a crazy 2 weeks since that school had started. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Also, we have Ramadan that is a month away. So today's lesson, the sacred month of Rajab, the gateway to Ramadan. I have tried to keep this lesson as short and simple and straightforward. The next session, inshallah, I will try and do Laylatul Mi'raj. We know next week, actually this Sunday evening would be Laylatul Mi'raj. So next week we will go into Sha'ban, and the sessions to follow I will do is going to be on the virtues of Sha'ban and the importance of Sha'ban. And then I will do 1 or 2 repeat sessions of the very, very first lessons I had when I had started these classes. It was called Tazkiyah, Purification of the Heart and Soul. So I will be doing those 2 lessons closer towards Ramadan to prepare us for the month of Ramadan. We know that Ramadan is not just about fasting, it's about also the Quran was revealed in the month of Ramadan. It's about gaining closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's about spirituality. It's about, resetting your intentions and how are we going to maximize our time to gain, because I always say everybody's lives are different. Everybody's routines are different. What works for me might not work for you, and, vice versa. So, the last session I spoke about setting your intentions. I spoke about writing your goals down, to make the goals realistic. I'm not sure if ladies have been doing it, but if you have been doing it and you continued up until, say today, you go back to the very first day that you started and see the progress you have made. So if you started in the last session when I spoke about setting your intentions, and one of the intentions was maybe to start reciting Quran, for example, and say you slowly started, and now if you can look back at the very first time you wrote it, you'll see an improvement. And the reason why I said start, I brought it, set your intentions from, in fact, from last year already, is because we're trying to gain, to keep that momentum until we reach Ramadan, so that when we are in the month of Ramadan, we already have the habit of, doing dhikr, reciting Quran, and so on. But back to today's session, we're going to do the sacred month of Rajab, the gateway to Ramadan. So, without any further ado, we shall begin. If you have your books and your pens out, we will begin. Okay, Bismillah. So we're first going to start off with the significance of Rajab. Remember, I have kept this really simple and straightforward. I did not overcomplicate things, so it is easy for everyone to understand. Okay, so Rajab is the seventh month of the Islamic calendar, and it is one of the four sacred months. So the term Rajab comes from the Arabic root word Rajaba, which means to respect or revere. And the root letters of the Arabic word Rajab, it's Ra, Jim, and Ba. And the word's meaning it's to strengthen or to support something with something else, or to respect and honor something. It is one of the four sacred months, and it's known as Al-Ashur al-Hurum. It's mentioned in the Quran, and the reason why it's one of the four sacred months is because fighting was prohibited, and the acts of worship were especially encouraged. And these months are considered. Slide is blurry. Okay, just give me a minute quickly. No, it's clear on my end as well. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, so during the month of Rajab, well, actually in these four sacred months, um, engaging in war was prohibited, and yeah, it's acts of worship is highly encouraged, and these months are considered a time of peace, reflection, and increased devotion to Allah. That is why prior I had made mention, set your intention, set your goals, so you can already get into that habit. So when you're nearing Rajab, Sha'ban, and when you're into Ramadan, you're already in that flow of everything. You're already in that flow of your recitation of your Quran, your extra fasting, dhikr, whatever it is you are doing. And the four sacred months are Muharram, Rajab, Dhul-Qa'dah, and Dhul-Hijjah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Tawbah in ayah 6, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن عدة الشهور عند الله 12 شهرا في كتاب الله يوم خلق السماوات والأرض منها 4 حرم ذلك الدين القيم فلا تظلموا فيهن أنفسكم وقاتلوا المشركين كافة كما يقاتلونكم كافة واعلموا أن الله مع المتقين. Indeed, the number of months ordained by Allah is 12. In Allah's record since the day He created the heavens and the earth, of 4 which are sacred. That is the right way. So do not wrong one another during these months, and fight the polytheists together as they fight together against you, and know that Allah is with those who are mindful of Him. So this ayah is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that He has created the 12 months, and we know we sight the moon every month. And from this 12 months, 4 of them are sacred. 3 of them they follow consecutively. That is Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, Muharram, and then the fourth one is Rajab. Now, if Allah is telling, if Allah has prohibited war, they were not allowed to go to war during these months, and Rajab, it means to strengthen, to support something, so or to respect or revere. So whatever good deeds you do in this month of Rajab, it's like it's almost as if like Allah magnifies it. So now imagine sinning in this month. When you're sinning in this month, you can imagine it's your it will be more heavier. So when Allah talks about these 4 months, and Allah is putting out a certain law and a certain rule, we need to adhere and we need to follow it. So bear in mind that in these 4 months, if you sin, that doesn't mean you can sin throughout throughout the year or whatever. But especially during these times, it almost that it like magnifies it. So your um your good deeds also, the more you do good deeds, it's almost like it also it magnifies it. That is why these months you don't test the boundaries of Allah. You don't test the laws of Allah. Because if you try to test Allah or you test His boundaries, you will, our ending will not be good. So if you're sinning in these 4 months and you think, okay, nothing happened to me, I'm not going to get away with it, don't forget about your akhirah. Remember the ayah that I always spoke about, where people made dua for their dunya things, and Allah gave it to them, but they lost a portion of the akhirah. It comes down to the same thing. When you are sinning and you think, okay, okay, maybe you're getting away with it on the dunya. However, don't forget there is a qiyamah that needs to happen. You are going to be questioned for what you did. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, don't wrong yourself during these months. فَلَا تَظْلِمُوا فِيهِنَّ أَنفُسَكُمْ. Do not wrong one another during these months, but also don't wrong yourself during these months. Then we move on to the next slide. So the key points about Rajab: a sacred status. So as a sacred month, it holds great significant importance on Islam. It encourages Muslims to avoid sins and focus on acts of righteousness. That's what I said before. Everything it's going to be magnified, both your sins and your good deeds. So avoid sins. Allah says, don't wrong others and don't wrong yourself. So that is the the part about encouraging to do good deeds and to focus on that so you prepare yourself for the month of Ramadan. Then we have historical events. So the Isra and so Laylatul Mi'raj, the miraculous night journey and ascension of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This I will do next week, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. This is a lesson on its own, but this is one of the events that happened. Okay, so the ascension to heaven. So Laylatul Mi'raj or Isra and Mi'raj, it's when the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam traveled with Angel Jibreel from the Kaaba in Mecca to Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. And from there Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam started his journey through the 7 heavens. And on this night, Allah commanded the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to instruct the Muslims to pray 50 times a day, to which the Prophet ﷺ kept asked to keep reducing reducing the prayers until it became five prayers. And subhanAllah, imagine we struggle with five prayers, five daily salahs. How would we have kept up with 50 um, salahs? So this Laylatul Mi'raj, I will do next week. It's a lesson on its own, because there were a lot of things that happened on this night journey. And then I don't have it here, but another historical event that happened was the Battle of Tabuk. So the Prophet ﷺ, he took the largest army that Arabia has ever seen um, up until this point to face the Roman army. And as a result, the Romans did not show up and they retreated, and a peace agreement was made. And then number four, voluntary worship. So there is nothing specific that one must do in the month of Rajab. There's nothing specific that is mentioned that one should do. However, we use the month of Rajab to increase in our worship. So that can be like your optional fasting, fasting the Sunnah days, the white days, the Monday, Thursday. Um, for ladies that you still have to pay in your Qadha fast. Now's the time to do so. To make big lots of istighfar. So it's seen as a spiritual preparation for the month of Ramadan, which follows 2 months later. So you can see that the month of Rajab is like a stepping stone to prepare us for Ramadan. So when you have a bad habit, it becomes difficult to break it. It takes a while. Or even when you're trying to build up a good habit, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a couple of days, a week, 2 weeks, sometimes even 3 weeks. So if you start implementing already uh, from the beginning of Rajab, you can see how, something as if you set your intentions and you wrote your goals down to start off with something small, like reading 2 pages of Quran a day or whatever it is. And as you keep on going during the month of Rajab, you slowly increase a page, increase another page. So by the time you reach Ramadan, you can finish, an entire two juz in a day. So you can finish your khatam for, in the month of Ramadan. So it's not too late. You can start now to implement these voluntary worship. So key points about Rajab. So the month of Rajab is the month for planting. For planting. The month of Sha'ban is the month of irrigating crops, and the month of Ramadan is the month of harvesting. So just to break this hadith down. So Rajab is the month to plant seeds, meaning Rajab is the time to set your goals for your relationship with the Quran and your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember, Ramadan is spiritual, it's a spiritual journey, not just when you're fasting and abstaining from food and drink. It's more than that. And Sha'ban is the month to irrigate, meaning as Sha'ban approaches, you can start nurturing your goals by creating habits that support them. I had mentioned that just now. Ramadan is a month to harvest. So Ramadan is when you can reap the rewards of your efforts in Rajab and Sha'ban. So because you already started um, with these goals and these intentions in Rajab and Sha'ban, when you're in the month of Ramadan, it's like so easy to you. It's like it comes so naturally to you. So you're getting up for tahajjud, that you're reading extra Quran. It's not an effort for you because you had already implemented this 2 months before. So Rajab is a time to plant seeds of intention, nurture them with acts of worship, and prepare our souls for the harvest of Ramadan. Each step we take this month, from fasting to prayer to keeping charity, it brings us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and it prepares us for the spiritual month of Ramadan. Next one we have is building momentum towards Ramadan. Okay. So start doing small acts of worship to prepare for Ramadan. I just mentioned fasting the Sunnah days, extra nafil salah, reciting Quran, increasing in dhikr, and you don't have to overcomplicate anything. You keep it simple. I'm going to be starting the beginning of Feb again, our dhikr group, but I'm going to put in what to recite for the day. However, this time I'm not going to put in how much to recite. Normally we were aiming for like 1,000 istighfars a day, and alhamdulillah we reached for the month of December we had reach 31 or 30,000 istighfar just by doing so. In a month, you completed 30, I think December was 31 days, so we had 31,000 istighfars done. So this time, I'm not going to put an amount, I'm going to put what to recite. You, on your own, set that goal for yourself, how much you want to do for the day. So if you want to do 100 for the day, that is fine. It is better than nothing. So you do it on your own and you try and set yourself realistic goals. Have practical tips for improving consistency. Consistency is the key. Don't set these huge goals and these, uh, which not you can't achieve them. And then what happens is when you don't reach these goals, you become despondent or you become upset with yourself. So start small. That is why when I'm going to put in the picture group when we start. I'm just going to put on to recite. You recite what you are able to. You decide what you are able to, you do what you are able to, as long as you are consistent. So you set realistic, see consistency such as setting realistic goals and building good habits and getting rid of bad habits and sins. So just as you're trying to start good habits to prepare for Ramadan, you should also start by getting rid of your bad habits. So for example, maybe you delay your salah, you know, so you start now by making your salah on time. Uh, maybe you have whatever habits you have that's not good that you can't that you're struggling with. You start already in Rajab. So when you get to Ramadan, it's easy for you. Something as simple as if you take coffee, you take caffeine. Some people are like addicted to coffee. They must have a coffee. They can't go a day without having a coffee. Sometimes they have like 2, 3 cups, maybe even more. And what happens is when it comes to Ramadan and they're fasting, they tend to have like withdrawal symptoms. So you get like headaches, um, and then you become irritable, you become moody. So already now, if you're someone who's addicted to having, or you like must have so much of coffee, start reducing. So if you're having like 5 cups of coffee a day, reduce it 4. Then the next week 3, until you'll see when you reach Ramadan, the only cup of coffee you'll be having is for suhoor and maybe when you iftar time, whatever it is. But start now getting rid of this bad habit. Write down and set your intentions, your intentions. I did this with you in December. Write down and write down your intentions, renew your intentions as well. So if you have the same intentions, it's fine, just renew it. Remember, it must be for the sake of Allah. Contemplate, do self-reflection, connect to Allah, and take yourself into account and make changes within yourself. That is muraqabah and muhasabah. So muraqabah, just to give you a little bit of an explanation, so you can implement this in your starting actually today, starting now. Muraqabah means vigilance. So it's a state of self-awareness where you're closely watching over yourself and you're watching your actions, you're watching your intentions, even your hidden intentions. It's like you're so conscious. That's what it means to have taqwa, to be God conscious. You're aware that Allah is watching even your intentions, what you're thinking to yourself. So with um with muraqabah, remember also this has to do with your nafs as well. That is why I'm going to do the whole session of Tazkiyatun Nafs, explaining the nafs. I'm going to do that whole session again closer to Ramadan to help us prepare for Ramadan. Okay. So with muraqabah, again, you need to be vigilant about everything you do. Like you are careful, you're attentive, um, you're very observant. You ask, you sit and you try to connect to Allah. You ask, um, like why, how can I be better? Um, for example, if you have an intention or you want to do something, then you ask yourself, okay, but why do I want to do this? Am I, is this coming from my nafs that is inciting me to do good, or is it just coming from my lower nafs? Is it my desires, my passion? It's not going to really benefit me in any way. And then how will you do whatever it is you want to do? And then for who will you do it? So when you're sitting in muraqabah, for example, and you're doing your dhikr or you're reciting Quran, for example, you want to go and you recite Quran, then you're so self-aware that, okay, you know what, I want to recite my Quran, but why do I want to recite the Quran? Because I want to understand. So you, for example, you say, okay, because I want to understand what Allah is telling me. I want to read about the meaning. I want to become closer to Allah. Um, the Quran is like a sponge. It absorbs your grief, your sadness. So just listening to it makes me feel peaceful. And then why? That's the why. And then how will you do this? So if you want to recite Quran, how will you do? You will make the effort. You won't just when it comes to learning about the Quran, it's as someone who's not learned, it's not safe to sit and self-learn the Quran. Something as a Quran journey that is not something I would recommend to do without a teacher. Because if you start reading the meaning of the Quran and you try to interpret it, the danger is that you might interpret it to what you think or what you want the ayah to mean. So the third question you will ask is, but who am I learning for, or who am I reciting the Quran for? And your first answer should always be for the sake of Allah. Because is it for the sake of Allah or for the sake of creation? Because you can sit and you can go, okay, you want to recite Quran, now you sit and you recite Quran. Why you want to do it? Okay, because you want to uh, find some peace or it brings you peace, so you're going to recite it. But who are you doing it for? Are you going to sit there and do it in such a way that you're showing off to creation, or are you doing it for the sake of Allah? So it comes down to anything you do in your life, it should always be for the sake of Allah. Something as simple as um, take your family, for example. I'm looking after them. I'm getting married for the sake of Allah. I have children. Allah bestowed this amana upon me. I'm going to look after my children for the sake of Allah. I'm cooking for the sake of Allah. You change and you shift your perspective. Everything should be for the sake of Allah, and you can turn everything to ibadah. So that is muraqabah, when you're in a state of vigilance. You're observant, you're aware, you understand. So when you're not unmindful. So when you're reciting Quran, you understand you're not just okay reciting Quran. You understand the weight of the ayah. When you're making dhikr, you understand and connecting to Allah and you feel it. And then muhasabah is self-examination. So muhasabah is it's to bring to one's attention of yourself after you have done the act. So it's like you take yourself into account for what you have done. And this is what we would call a nafs al-lawwama, the reproachful soul, or the reproachful nafs. So it's in this part of the nafs, it's where you take yourself into account for what you did. And it's basically taking stock of yourself. Okay, I did this, I shouldn't have done that, I could have done better. An example is Allah gave you eyes. So how are you going to make, okay, if I just take that your limbs, for example, your body, your eyes, your ears, your tongue, your hands, your feet, um, your stomach, even your private parts as well. And how do we make muhasabah of this? Your eye, the first one is your eyes. What did you look at today that you could have rectified? Did you look at something that you were not supposed to look at? Did you lower your gaze? Your ears, did you listen to something you shouldn't have? Your tongue, did you say something? Did you keep it moist with the dhikr of Allah, or are you sitting and gossiping? The stomach, did you eat something today? Did you overeat that you are so lazy, you are so bloated that you are struggling to um, make your salah, you're struggling to concentrate in your salah? That is why in Ramadan we will go through all of this. It's not just about fasting and keeping away from food and drink. Then you have the private parts, zina. Did you, some parents are okay with um, my son having a girlfriend or my daughter having a boyfriend. Remember that is someone's daughter. Your son is bringing home someone's daughter, or you are letting your daughter out. You're supposed she's an amana. You're supposed to look after her. How are you as parents okay with your okay they're dating, but there is no such thing as dating in Islam. How are you okay with them dating? Yes, they're in front of you. Of course, they're going to behave. But then you let them go out with no third person or fourth person to um, watch them, or they don't even, even if you're getting to know someone for the sake of marriage, you're supposed to have someone, a third person, or a mahram with the girl. Today they're not doing anything in front of you. Tomorrow your son brings a girl home and she's pregnant, or tomorrow your daughter comes home and she's pregnant. Zina. Zina is not only the act itself, zina of the eyes, zina of the hands, zina of the mouth. It's a very, very vast topic. So please be careful. Um, and your feet and your hands, where did you take something that didn't belong to you? Did you walk somewhere that you were not supposed to or go? So this is what muhasabah is. You take yourself into account. So always try and do this before you go sleep. You make muhasabah of your day. What did I do today that I can rectify? Then the last one is write down your spiritual goals and aspirations for Ramadan. So not just like your goals, like okay, I need to get up early, I need to um, do this for iftar, I need to do this. Your spiritual goals, gaining closest to Allah. Um, some people they want to, if you want to complete a tip for you ladies, if you want to complete the entire Quran, the Khatam, by reciting it in the month of Ramadan, if you use the 15 line Quran, it's known as the Uthmani print. There is 10 pages in a juz, that is 20 sides. So if you would go quicker if you use the 15 line Quran. And what's nice about that Quran is that a new ayah starts at the top of the page and the ayah ends on the same page. Whereas a 39 Quran, the ayah continues into the next side of the page. So if you even try to read like um, 2 pages after every salah, make that your goal. After every salah, Fajr, you read 2 sides or 2 pages. Um, Dhuhr, you read 2 sides. You can get a juz done maybe in 2 days or maybe in a day even. These are what your spiritual goals are. Focusing more on dhikr, focusing just only on istighfar and just on salawat. You want to keep it simple. And then you can even write down your goals, for example, for all your for an example, like I said, everybody's lifestyle, everybody's routine is completely different. So an example is your menu plan, what you're going to make for iftar, or meal prep, whatever it is, just to make it easy for you. Because remember, in the month of Ramadan, we're always in the kitchen right till it's time to, till Maghrib, till it's time to break the fast. And we should at least give ourselves 30 to 40 minutes before the adhan goes up for Maghrib, because that is a very, very important time where we should be sitting and making dua, where your du'as are accepted. So to avoid all that, plan yourself well in advance. Get your kids to help you. Don't just have spiritual goals for yourself, have it for your family as well. For example, okay, the weekend, during the week, the kids go to school or whatever it is. So then make it on the weekend, that on a Saturday morning and on a Sunday morning after Fajr, you sit together as a family, you, your husband, your kids, and you make dhikr together, istighfar, salawat. You recite Quran together. You take do muhasabah. Take something you are grateful for. What has Allah given your family that you say something that you're grateful for, your husband says something you're grateful for. Get the kids as young as they are, get them involved. So make that your family time during Ramadan where you make dua together. Write down, get the kids to write down what they want as well, or what dua they want. These are just ideas for like your spiritual goals for the month of Ramadan, not just for yourself, but involve your entire family, and you will see the rahmah and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descend upon. And we end off with a dua that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam always told us. Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Sha'ban wa ballighna Ramadan. Oh Allah, bless us in Rajab and Sha'ban and allow us to reach the month of Ramadan. We're going to do a little bit of a dhikr. So you can put away your pens and your books and sit in a comfortable position and close your eyes. We're going to start off with our dhikr. Relax yourself. Close your eyes. You are handing yourself over to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prepare yourself spiritually as Ramadan is approaching. Connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through salawat and la ilaha illallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman.
Excessively, and to keep it suitably hung in the house will protect one from all diseases caused by plagues, pestilence, and cholera, and is certainly found to be very effective and beneficial and brings great peace and contentment to the heart and mind. It is also very effective for removing difficulties and ailments.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد صلاة تنجينا بها من جميع الأهوال والآفات وتقضي لنا بها جميع الحاجات وتطهرنا بها من جميع السيئات وترفعنا بها عندك أعلى الدرجات وتبلغنا بها أقصى الغايات من جميع الخيرات في الحياة وبعد الممات إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد صلاة تنجينا بها من جميع الأهوال والآفات وتقضي لنا بها جميع الحاجات وتطهرنا بها من جميع السيئات وترفعنا بها عندك أعلى الدرجات وتبلغنا بها أقصى الغايات من جميع الخيرات في الحياة وبعد الممات إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد صلاة تنجينا بها من جميع الأهوال والآفات وتقضي لنا بها جميع الحاجات وتطهرنا بها من جميع السيئات وترفعنا بها عندك أعلى الدرجات وتبلغنا بها أقصى الغايات من جميع الخيرات في الحياة وبعد الممات إنك على كل شيء قدير.
إله إلا الله لا 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 إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وأصحابه وبارك وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.